Today, we're talking about the 5 non-negotiables for 15% body fat. And I say 15% because I believe that 15% is the sweet spot for the vast majority of guys. And when I say the vast majority, I really do truly mean about 99% of men. It's where aesthetics meets health. It's where you're going to be lean and defined enough to be able to see definition in your chest, your shoulders, and even your abs. But you're also going to be strong enough to be able to push hard in the gym. And just as importantly, you're going to be energized enough to be able to dominate your day. It really is the melting pot, as David Brent would say. You don't need 2-hour workouts. You don't need to do endless cardio. And you certainly don't need to be following a low-carb, ketogenic diet to get there, though. You just need these 5 non-negotiables that we're going to go through today. And that is what we're going to talk about. So let's get into it. Rule number 1, non-negotiable number 1, is all about your environment, guys. We've talked about this before, but as I say all the time, we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Fat loss is not a willpower problem, guys. Most people are driven to make the decisions that they do by their environment. We are making 80 to 90% of our decisions day to day automatically. And there's proof in this, right? Do you ever walk into a room and can't even remember walking in there and you stood there like, why am I even here? It's because your brain is just on automatic mode. It's on autopilot mode, like a plane might be. Your physical environment obviously matters, whether that is what is in the fridge, what is in the cupboards, how messy your house or your flat is, the smell, the cleanliness, all of these things really do matter. Even your car or your workspace here, these are all super important. But as well as that, obviously, we need to be on top of our digital environment. You could argue, depending on where you're at, your digital environment nowadays is actually more important than your physical environment because we spend so much of our time with our head buried in our phones, whether it's talking to people over email or iMessage or WhatsApp, or whether it's looking at social media, or whether it's watching YouTube videos like this. We have to be the master of our own destiny, and we have to curate our environment, both physical, digital, and of course, social as well, guys. You have to remember that these algorithms are optimized for attention, not for your goals. They will show you what they know is going to keep you on the platform for longer, because that is how they make their readies, their cash, guys. And the way I like to look at it is that your phone, your computer, your iPad is like your digital fridge. So that if you fill it full of junk, it's going to just create junk cycles in your head. And you have to remember that your outcomes start with your beliefs. If you want to have better outcomes, get better beliefs, because better beliefs lead to better thoughts lead to better actions, and better actions, you guessed it, lead to better outcomes. But it all starts with our beliefs. And what is upstream of our beliefs is what we see, what we absorb, what we hear. And a lot of what we hear and what we see nowadays is not face-to-face. I've had 2 face-to-face conversations today, which is a little bit sad, but it's just the way it is, right? I spoke to a couple of people at the gym. That was it. That's very normal nowadays, though, for a lot of people. Most of our conversations are done digitally, whether that is via audio or via video calls, but they're not real. They are projections on a screen. So we have to be very, very mindful of what we are ingesting, both physically in our food and our calories and our drink, but also in the life force that we are putting in our body through the content that we watch, guys. So the action here is super simple, and I know a lot of you guys have already done this, but if you haven't, or if you're still in the process of it, or if you're procrastinating on it, then use this weekend to your advantage. Clean out the fridge, clean out the cupboards, unfollow or at least mute people who are negative or just not adding any value or wasting your time. And then make sure that you start following some accounts that are inspirational, that are motivational, that are uplifting, because remember what we said. The people you spend your time with is your reference group, right? The reference group is a leading indicator of your lifestyle in 6 months' time. So if you want to have a better lifestyle in 6 months' time, you need to start absorbing the energy of people who are doing better than you, not people who are doing worse than you. The worst thing that you could do is be the Billy Big Balls in a small pond. You do not want to be the most successful, the most jacked, the richest guy in a room. You want to be the poorest and the weakest and the stupidest, because that is how you grow, and that is how you grow fast. So put yourself digitally and potentially physically, if you can, around people who you are going to grow and learn from. Everyone can do this, and everyone can do it today. Okay? So that's point number 1. That's non-negotiable number 1. Number 2 is to set realistic expectations. As I've said before, guys, we have to play the long game. So many men overestimate what they think they can achieve in days and weeks and underestimate what they can achieve in months and years. Even just now, I was having a conversation with one of my clients, Ken, and he said to me, he started out at 289, 290 pounds. He's now down at 210. Crazy. Absolutely insane. And he said to me, like, if you just said to me, like, I'll be at 210, I'll be like, he thought at 210 he'd be absolutely shredded, six pack, and he's getting there, and he will get there in the next 10 to 15 pounds. But he didn't realize the levels of the game that he was playing. And this is the most important thing, guys. However long you think this is going to take, however hard you think it is going to be, double it, triple it, 10x it. And I'm not saying any of those things to put you off. I'm saying those things because if we set realistic expectations, accurate expectations, it means that when it does get hard, when it does take longer, when it is a bit more frustrating than you thought it was going to be, you're not going to quit. And that, at the end of the day, is the number one rule of the game. We have to be able to play the game. It is like Monopoly. When you first play Monopoly, you're not going to be any good, or chess, you're not going to be any good. But the more you play, the better you get. So you just got to treat this like a game. All right, guys? You have to expect discomfort. You have to expect setbacks. And as I said, you have to expect a longer time frame than you think it's going to be. Do not be focused on the speed that you are going to get to your goal, because as I've said to you guys in the past, the goal that you think you have in your head right now isn't even the final destination. Fitness is not a game that you ever complete. I was talking to someone about this today as well, about YouTube, and he was like, I've got like 6 YouTube videos recorded, but I'm a little bit like apprehensive about uploading them because I feel like if I upload them, then I have to stay consistent and then I have to, stay in the game and stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? No, you don't at all. YouTube content, whatever you want to call it, social media, is not a game that you ever complete. So you got to get started. You're not even in the game yet. Like, you're not even a player. Like, put yourself on the board, start playing the game, and then worry about the consistency. It's like the guy who says he's not ready to work out because it's not optimal conditions. It's not Monday, so I'll just wait. I'm going to go to the gym on Monday. Why? What's so mythical and magical about Monday? It's exactly the same. So much of the time, we are the only thing that's holding ourselves back, right? It's our belief systems again, guys. And this is why I like another example of this is dry January, right? A lot of people do dry January. I'm not really a fan of it because particularly if you've had a relatively boozy December, which I expect a lot of people did, no shame in that, it's going to take the month of January for you to get back to a baseline. That's where you get back to zero. The upside comes in February and March. So if you are going to do a dry spell, then first and foremost, set a clear intention as to why it's important for you to do that. And then set it longer than you think you need to. 30 days is not going to change anything. If someone comes to me nowadays and says, I'm going to do dry Jan, I honestly would say, don't bother, mate. There's no point. Like, you ain't going to get anywhere with that. You're going to get back to baseline, and then you're just going to feel worse because you're going to go back downhill. At the very least, do 60 days. And if you can't do 90 days, let's just be honest, you're an alcoholic. No shame in that. It took me 10 years to kick it, to be able to finally break free and actually do, I think I did 8 months the first time I went dry. Felt amazing. 8 months was probably a little bit too long for me. Now, I tend to do 2 to 3 months. It's very rare you're going to see me with a drink in my hand before March the 1st. Very rare. Something would have to go very right or very wrong. But even then, I don't even associate it with like that anymore. This is a big thing in the UK and the US. It's like, oh, it's Friday, beers. Oh, it's the game's on, beers. And then it just gets to a point where it's like, oh, I had a shit day. Oh, it's a Monday, man. Yeah, but I had a really bad day. Okay, go to the gym. Go to bed. You don't need a beer. You know what I mean? It just becomes a crutch for people. If you can't do it for 90 days, if you've never done it for 90 days, you need to start labeling yourself. This is another thing. I should have said this last night, actually. One of the most powerful things I've ever done with my mindset in the past is give myself labels that I know I don't want. So I say this to myself. God, Doug, you can't give up alcohol for 90 days? You got a drinking problem. I say that to myself, right? I'm saying it to myself. So if I'm saying it to myself, I'm going to say it to you guys too. You give yourself labels that society doesn't like. No one wants to be an alcoholic, right? And they talk about the steps. They talk about how the first step is admitting that you're an alcoholic. Do the same thing. If you can't give up booze for 90 days, tell yourself, you know what? I've probably got a bit of a booze problem. No shame in that because guess what? Basically everybody does. But that's fine. Doesn't mean you have to lower yourself to their shitty standards. We're trying to be exceptional here, guys. That's just one example. You could do this with anything. You could do this with food. You could do this with porn. You could do this with social media. You could do this with toxic friends. There's so many examples. But you can give yourself these labels. You can almost, it's like shaming yourself. You remember when like a few years ago, people were like, fat shaming was bad? Well, yeah, jog on. Fat shaming is one of the best things that we can do. It's one of the best things that we can do. You know, of course, you want to do it in a constructive way. And you want to say, hey, by the way, bro, you ain't looking too sharp at the moment. But guess what? We can help each other out. Let's hold each other accountable over the next 3 months. Boom. Shame yourself into situations. Give yourself labels. And then once you've got a system that works for you, once you've got the data, once you've got proof that things are working for you, just keep going. Keep turning up, keep doing the things. It doesn't take long. So at the beginning, right, it feels like you're pushing a boulder up a hill, doesn't it? But after like 3 weeks, I actually found this a little bit this week. I felt those first 2 weeks of Jan, it was like, oh, everything feels hard, right? We all have that. And then you get to that week 3 and you're like, okay, this is starting to work for me now rather than against me. And then week 4 and then week 5 and you're like, okay, I'm building some real momentum here. And that's what you got to do, guys. So the action point here, get clear on why you're doing this. Remind yourself, give yourself a label if you're not happy with where you're at. Say, yeah, I do have a problem with this, but I don't want to be that guy. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to change my behaviors, because if I change my behaviors, you get better outcomes. Okay? So that's number 2. Number 3, know your numbers, guys. Know your numbers. You don't need a diet. You don't need to go crazy, but you do need some awareness and you do need some control as well. All of these diets are created by the principle of the calorie deficit. All of them. Whether it's keto, carnivore, vegan, intermittent fasting, Atkins, Mediterranean, paleo, doesn't matter. They are all underneath the umbrella, the principle of the calorie deficit. You have the beauty, the option, the ability to pick the method that works best for you. You don't even have to have one method. You can have multiple methods. It doesn't matter. What you really want to be aiming for is a calorie-controlled diet. And as I always say, take your deficit number, link in the description if you need to figure it out using the calculator, multiply it by 7, hold yourself to a weekly budget, give yourself some flexibility in the week. Do that, and I promise you, things get a lot easier. The goal is to control the intake without relying on rigid rules. That's the real goal here, guys. And remember, quality over quantity. If you fill your diet with whole, nutrient-dense, single ingredient foods, it becomes pretty damn hard to overeat. But at the same time, make sure that you are factoring in things that you love and look forward to every single day. One thing, every single day, whatever it is, have it. Because then you are never, ever restricting yourself. And as so many people will say, consistency beats intensity every time. Remember that, those 5 words. Consistency beats intensity every time. Say that to yourself. Tattoo it on your inside of your eyelids. Do what you got to do, guys. So, as I said, action point here, if you're not already, which most of you guys are, but it's always an important reminder, or if you're brand new to the stream, you're brand new to the channel, track your calories. Track your calories, clean up your food quality, build some awareness, not restriction. So that's number 3. Number 4, we're talking about movement. So we want to think about movement the same way we do about our calories, right? It's not about extremes. It's not about restriction. It's not about hitting daily things. It's about zooming out and trying to hit trying to hit a certain number of steps in a given week. So what you want to do is find your baseline, whatever your baseline is. And I'll tell you a true story, actually. So last year, I think it was, when was it? It must have been like March or April last year. It doesn't really matter. I was, doing what I was doing, my YouTube videos, and I was saying, 10,000 steps, 8,000 steps, 12,000 steps, the usual. And then I was like, I don't feel like I'm like on my game at the moment. And I looked at my steps and I was doing 6,000. So sometimes we think we are. We tell everyone, yeah, I do 10,000 steps a day. Just check that you do. And by the way, if you don't, that's absolutely fine. Whatever your baseline is, just add 10% every single week until you hit about 10,000. Nothing magical happens going from 9,999 to 10,000. It's just an arbitrary number. But if you aim for 70,000 per week, so it could be 7,000 some days, 13,000 another, it's just a sweet spot where it's very sustainable. It's good for your physical health. It's good for your mental health. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It helps you to rest, to relax. It helps you to de-stress, and it helps you to get better sleep, which we'll talk about in a second. But it's also, as I said, it's sustainable, and it's the best way to consistently burn fat without burning your body out. Because as I said right at the beginning of this video, we want to create a body and a lifestyle that doesn't fry your body, doesn't fry your central nervous system. And I see guys pushing themselves 5 days a week in the gym. And I used to do this, and it works when you're in your 20s. Most of us, if any of us, are in our 20s. It doesn't work very well in your 30s either. I'm coming up on 40 now, and I'm down to 4 sessions a week. And hopefully I can maintain that, but I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years I'm down to 3 sessions. It's the quality and the intensity of those sessions that matter. It's just like your food, guys. We base this on principles. But the main thing that you want to be doing, that you can do whether you're 8 years old or 80 years old, is walking, getting up, getting outside. That's very crucial. I know it's the winter. I know it's tough. It seems like a lot of you guys are having snowstorms and all that sort of stuff. But try and get outside as much as you can. It doesn't have to be every day. I get it. There are times when you can't. But get outside. It's not enough to just do your 10,000 steps. Okay? We have to be doing it outside. We want to be breathing in the air, the fresh air. We want to be seeing the nature. And try and even leave your phone at home. Like, just go out and enjoy the world, as it were. Trust me, it's a game changer. So find your baseline, increase it by 10% every single week until you're at 10K. And then last, but certainly not least, number 5 is prioritize the sleep. Why? Because it is a fat loss multiplier, okay? We all know, right, that sleep improves our energy, our focus, our mood, and our strength, and even our drive as well, like our testosterone, right? We know about this. But what you might not know is that good sleep makes it easier to improve your body composition. So they've done a sleep study on this. Some of you might have heard me talking about it before, where they took 2 groups of people, and one of the groups slept 8.5 hours a night, the other slept 5.5. The group that slept, so both groups lost the same amount of weight, but the group who slept 8.5 hours, all the weight that they lost was fat, not muscle. The group who slept 5.5 hours, all the weight that they lost was muscle, not fat. You do not want to lose muscle, you want to lose fat. So even though you might feel like you're losing weight and everything's going great, what you're really going for is not a weight loss goal that you've got, it's a body composition goal. You want to feel better about yourself. You want to look better you want to feel better when you look in the mirror and have more confidence. You want to have more energy, more drive. You want to have the strength. You want to pick up your kids, your grandkids, whatever it might be. You want to be able to run around with them. You want to look good for your lady friend, whatever it might be. That all comes from body composition, not just losing weight and ended up looking like a Ethiopian marathon runner. Nothing against Ethiopians. They're great. But that's not the look that any of you are going for, right? So don't train them, don't act like them. Think about the fact that you're using your sleep as a fat loss multiplier, but also as a way to preserve and actually build muscle. That is when you are at your most anabolic, guys. That is when your body is releasing the testosterone into the bloodstream and growing. The recovery happens outside of the gym. The growth happens outside of the gym. Yes, you have to push hard while you're there, but you don't need to do it every single day. And if you feel like you're getting smaller, or if you feel like it's slowing down, or you feel like it's not necessarily happening for you, the answer is not to push harder in the gym. The answer is to sleep better. How do we do this? We've talked about the 3-2-1 rule before. We've talked about our sleep environment. We've talked about our screen time. What else have we talked about? We've talked about our sleep consistency, making sure we're going to bed at the same time. All of these things, they're very simple. Doesn't mean they're easy to fix, but they're very simple to fix. And pretty much every single one of them when it comes to your sleep, apart from maybe the sleep environment one that takes a little bit longer, you can fix today. Today. And sleep is the one thing that gives you leverage over everything. Because if you feel better, literally within 12 hours, within one night, if you feel better, that builds that momentum. It makes it so much easier to get up and do the thing that you might have been putting off for a week. And if we control the controllables, we might not be able to get perfect night's sleep every night. This week's been a bit of a weird one for me. I had my first 100 sleep score, so like perfect sleep score. But then the next 2 nights I was in the 80s. And then last night I went back up to 95. But if you'd asked me, like, did my performance suffer? Like, no, not at all. Like, if anything, weirdly, I felt like yesterday was probably my best day. And then at the night I'd had like an 80. But again, if you extrapolate, zoom out and look at my average over the course of this whole month, it's been in the 90s. So don't stress one bad night, but equally don't get too excited about one good one. But the more data you've got, the better. The more data you've got, the better, guys. And as we said, consistency matters more than the duration. You don't need 8 hours of sleep. I very rarely sleep 8 hours. My average is, I'll tell you, I think it's like 7 hours and 20 minutes or something. Let's have a look. 7 hours, 21 minutes. I don't know if you can see that, but 7 hours and 21 minutes is my average for the last month. And my sleep scores have consistently been in the 90s. So As long as you're getting 7 hours of high quality sleep, you're great. You're good. Cool. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about that, guys. Those are the 5 non-negotiables. You nail them, and it is absolutely inevitable, 100% guaranteed you are going to get to 15% body fat. Can't tell you when, but I can tell you you are going to get there. And I think most guys are so focused on their workouts or their cardio or their supplements or whatever else it might be. They're majoring in the minors. Of course, the workouts are important and stuff, but grand scheme of things, most of us, me included, are spending less than 4%, 5% of our week in the gym. So what we do outside of the gym, that lifestyle that we live, is far more important. Okay, guys? You can get lean without the extreme workouts. You can get lean without the extreme diets. And in fact, you're going to get there faster and you're going to enjoy the process a heck of a lot more. Boom. That was what I had for tonight, guys. Let's have a look. Let's go to the chat and see what you guys are saying here. Where did I get to? Boom, 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 boom. Waiting for this. Where am I? Ah, there we go, Brian. Nice to hear you human like the rest of us. 100%, Russ, of course, man. Hey there, guys. Keep up the good work. Love it. All the way from Sweden, man. Phil, good to see you, my brother. Well, also gets cold in the desert, 18 degrees. Rubbing it in. Welf's over in the Middle East, holding down the fort. 15% will look like a POW. No, you won't, bro. No, you won't. Not if you've got a decent bit of lean muscle mass. I deleted every social media app except YouTube so I can watch this stream. Love it, man. Appreciate that. I have an alarm on it, so that will go off if I'm on it for longer than an hour. Yep, love that. It made a huge difference in my mood. There you go, bro. I love that. That's awesome. It's great to hear you've had such a big impact. Digital minimalism for the win. Yeah, like you don't want to become like one of these prepper guys. No offense if any of you are, where you're like living in a cabin in the woods, waiting for a nuke that may never go off. But you do want to have some awareness. And as I said to you guys last night, I think one of the big meta mistakes that we're going to look back on and kind of, you know, the shake my head emoji with the guy like that, I think is going to be social media and the way we use it, the way our kids use it, the way our grandkids use it. I think we're going to look back on it. And it's interesting, actually. Like, I basically disagree with everything the UK government is doing at the moment. But I did see that yesterday or the day before, someone sent something to me that, because I don't look at the news, someone sent something to me about the fact that they're looking into banning social media for under 16s, which Australia have just done as well. It'd be very interesting to know how that's going in Australia, actually. I don't know if we've got anyone from Australia on the chat tonight, but yeah, there's definitely something there, 100%. Good evening, Paul. The double it, triple it, 10 exit is such good advice. If we plan for that up front, we won't lose focus. 100%, man. 100%. I think, again, like realistic expectations, it's like the calorie deficit, it's like the water, it's like the sleep, it's like the fiber, it's like the protein. We've all heard it so many times. We just, our brain, our eyes just gloss over when we hear it now. So I just try to add a little bit more context for you guys. So yeah, 100%. Impatience is a weakness of the mind. Well, the way I like to look at it is impatience is the most underrated habit. I just see it as a habit. I think it's something that you can build. It's like a muscle you can develop. You know, it takes time. It's a learned skill. No one is born patient. Look at babies, right? They're the most impatient people on the planet. You know, they don't understand the world they live in, neither should they. But you also see, 50-year-olds who act like babies. So it works both ways. I was very impatient when I was a kid. When I say a kid, I mean like in my 20s. I still am sometimes. We're all guilty of it. Like I learned in the Marines, the secret is one more. You can always wait one more hour to break your diet or one more day of staying disciplined. After that, one more, just do one more. Yeah, man, 100%. Love it. I feel like $1 million after strength training for a few weeks. Awesome, bro. Brilliant. Brian, that's definitely something to live by. 100%, man. Bottle makes a nice decoration. Haven't touched it for 3 months. So, I mean, personally, man, I feel like you're fighting your environment there a little bit. I'd put it away. I would hide it. Had this conversation with one of my clients, David, not long ago, actually. He decided, I didn't tell him to, he decided he wanted to give up caffeine. But he left the coffee machine out. And I said, why have you left the coffee machine out? And he said, oh yeah, I didn't even think about it. It wasn't like a conscious decision. He just left it there. So he put it away. And he actually, when he created the space, he made space and put his supplements where his coffee machine were. Great little swap, right? So I didn't tell him to do that. He came up with it himself. So yeah, I would put that away, man. Yep. Increase my deficit by a couple hundred calories, see if I can break through this plateau. Still, see, again, Russ, don't do that. Move more. You don't need to eat less. Move more. You decrease your deficit, you're just going to make your body more stubborn. Well, as soon as I stop tracking steps or calories, I won't hit my targets. I will overeat and not walk enough. Yeah, it's they're guardrails until they're habits. That's how I look at them. Like, I don't track either now, but if I look at my steps, I will bet you $1 million imaginary dollars that my steps for the last year are over 10,000. Yep. Don't know if you can see that, but 10,573. There you go. It's subconscious to me now because I've been doing this for so long. Same with the calories. I mean, the easy way around the calories is basically just eat the same thing every day. But I appreciate that's not for everybody. Use the cal deficit calculator. It gave me 2,400. I've been on 2,000 with 3 months, but my weight has stagnated at 82. Doing the 10K steps, 3 liters of water, and gym progressive overload 5 days a week. Sean, my man, first time I've seen you on here. Welcome to the stream, my man. People tell me I'm a greyhound and can't bulk up. Okay, well, what's your goal here? Is the goal to lose fat or is the goal to build muscle? So first things first, we've got to focus on one thing and go after that. My prediction, without knowing you, without working one-on-one with you, is that you're not eating 2,000 calories. You think you are, but there's probably bits around the side that you're not tracking or not tracking accurately. I've done other videos on this. I recommend you go back and check them out if you haven't already. But one of the biggest things that catches guys out is either just not doing it on purpose, but just not tracking accurately or missing things. So it could be liquid calories, it could be cooking oil, it could be butter, it could be, what else could it be, guys? Help me out. Condiments. Those are the big ones. Coffees is a big one. Milk in coffees, or, thinking your innocent Starbucks is a coffee, so it doesn't count and it's actually 300 calories. There will be something in the data, I guarantee you. If you really put it under the microscope, put your life under the microscope, you will find the answer. You are not a genetic freak. You are a human being who abides by the law of thermodynamics. But pick one goal, stick with it. If you feel like you're carrying, put it this way, right? If you're over 20% body fat, make your goal fat loss. So calorie deficit and the stuff you say you're doing. 10K steps, 3 liters of water, progressive overload at the gym. Make that your goal. Once you get under 20%, towards 15%, start to see some definition in the stomach area. It doesn't have to be super six-pack shredded. Then you can bring the calories up towards a maintenance number and you can push harder in the gym. But again, that's where you're then really going to have to prioritize the sleep, prioritize the protein, and really prioritize the progressive overload. But for now, if you feel like you've stagnated at 82 and you're trying to reduce your weight, then go back to the tracking, go back to the data. Find the gap. Ryan's in the house. So on my Hume body pod, if it says my body fat percentage is going down, as well as it's my subcutaneous fat is going down, lean mass is going up, that's heading the right way. Yeah, of course. Rich is here. Nice to see you, my man. I'm seeing that my Hume too. Yep, cool. Just remember, guys, what I said the other day. Let's disassociate from brands. There's nothing magical about Hume. It is a data point. Continue to use it, but nothing magical. Yes, long game. Watching from Australia. 100%, man. Matthew, tell me. I was literally just asking about social media out there. Do you know? I don't know if you've got kids. Have you seen much of an impact? I know it's only been like 2 weeks or something. We're talking about social media and how it's been banned for kids over there. And they're now talking about doing it in the UK. I've been doing 6 workouts a week. I like the routine. Yeah, man, fair. If you like the routine, cool. If you can stick to it long term, then it's all about that. Woo beer. Hello, Doug. How are you? I am fan-bloody-tastic, my friend. Great to have you here. I work night shifts and watch guys smash 5 to 6 cappuccinos a night and wonder why they can't lose weight. Yeah, that's a big one as well. Listen, night shifts are tough, bro. There's no way. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's easy. If that was me, I'm just telling you what I would do. My long-term, and I'm talking 2-5 year strategy, would be to get out of night shifts. Whatever. I don't know what you do. but you're playing life on hard mode. And if you want a really sobering point around this, you're literally taking like 10 years off your life. So, but that's just my point. I'm not saying you have to do it. You can ignore me. I'm just a person on the internet. So, but yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. That was half an hour. That was good fun. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you all have a fantastic Friday. And as always, I will see you on Saturday. Let's get massive. See you later, guys.